terms of consistency of management and leadership training in the sector, I think it does vary vastly from manufacturer to manufacturer. And I've seen this from both sides, both here and in retail world. And what you tend to see is when you interview various people from different brands, they have massively different experiences and different mindsets in terms of particularly how to manage sales departments, service departments. And that's because the training is geared at different levels. Often manufacturers historically have tried to train towards the brand rather than train towards competencies. And that's not driven some good reactions in the network and in the people. In terms of the IMI standard competencies, I think that's excellent. And I think it's just what the sector needs because it gives people a benchmark that's measured by a third party. And not the manufacturers themselves in terms of training needs, requirements, and all those key competencies around bringing in good people, developing their skill sets, measurement, talent management, building teams, and business planning. And I think that really, really makes the process transparent from a retailer's side and from a manufacturer's training perspective. Well, driven from Vauxhall, we got involved with the management and leadership program through our links with ATA. And we do a lot of work with the IMI through the ATA program. And when the core competencies and the management and leadership trait analysis was being launched, we were quite interested in that and we thought it would add real value to our manufacturer training program. So we teamed up with the IMI and we've now adopted that across all our management and leadership key skill sets, so sales and after sales management. And we now use that as a core principle for our management and leadership training. Well, one of the areas that we've focused on around development for our network is the ability to actually get to a level by only addressing training gaps. So what we basically do is take the trait test, the IMI's trait test, and we assess those key management competencies against that across 8 levels, and then we only train to the gaps. So effectively what that means for the network is they take out cost of training while still maintaining the standard of the end result. Well, one of the key benefits that has on the network is that it saves them cost in the first place, which is often a reason they have reticence to send people on training courses. But we've also backed that up by introducing a mandatory gold level standard. So having completed the trait and filled the training gaps, the manager, leader or person in any department meets the gold standard. That gold standard is then reassessed through accreditation over the next 3 years. Effectively like a CPD mechanism, so they have to maintain the gold standard, and that would generally be done by a mandatory training across that 3-year period. I think having good, properly trained managers is absolutely fundamental to the business. Number one in terms of growing the business and growing our retail share and being number one in the market, which is our objective, but also in terms of customer satisfaction, in terms of staff retention, in terms of motivation, in terms of incentive to stay, attracting new talent. So I think the management piece is an absolute cornerstone of running a good and successful business. I think having independent recognition massively enhances our program. Because we're not just simply saying you've been trained to Vauxhall level, we're actually saying you've been trained to a level that's assessed independently by a third party and one of the industry's leading bodies, so it carries great credibility. Well, I think the opportunities for the network are really important, and this is why I think we're getting great traction from the program, because what we're allowing them to do is send people to gain skill sets that help them add value to the business, which is really key. So when they go back to the business and they're fully trained and fully competent to our gold level, then they can go and they can make more profit, sell more cars, they can manage the business to KPIs, they can set targets for the teams, they can manage and performance manage the teams more effectively, and they understand how the business gels together, so they can see the whole picture rather than simply elements of it. Yeah, in terms of confidence levels, I think the managers will feel more adept and have the skill sets to go and approach the business in a more robust way. So I think they'll, in the day job particularly, and the ability to do the day job, they'll feel much more competent.